It is 12:45 a.m. on what is now Sunday, February 8th, 2026. I'm just trying to rinse out some items that I have in this wash basin right here, where I have to fill up the basin with some water from this tap. And I can't because the water to this tap has been smelling absolutely horrendous since I started trying to fill up this basin maybe 40 minutes ago. The water was smelling perfectly fine earlier this evening, although it did have that chemical contaminant that is highly corrosive and strongly suggests deliberate interference with the safety and usability of the tap water that comes out of this kitchen sink. Earlier this evening, I made a video about how I could not use the tap water at all that comes out of this tap. First of all, the water is throttled, so there's barely any water coming out of this tap, even when both of the knobs are turned to maximum volume. This is maximum, this is off, full throttle, and yet there's still just barely a thin stream of water coming out of this tap. The water almost always develops a very corrosive quality to it that burns and stings the skin upon contact, and that then requires the use of disinfectant. Hydrogen peroxide and rubbing alcohol usually gets rid of the sting and burning as soon as I spray my hand down with it. And what I also tend to do is go down the hall to the common bathroom and rinse off my hands that sting and burn upon using this tap with water from the taps in the common bathrooms that never appears to be contaminated or corrosive in any way. If you know a little bit about plumbing and you understand that backflow safeguards can easily be removed by anybody who knows how to do that, and then you can use backflow technology to leach contaminants into the water to somebody's tap, then the concept of contaminating somebody's tap water is not that far-fetched. You can also use, as I have been mentioning for years now in my videos, something that is very simple and easy to use called a saddle valve. You can go to any hardware store and purchase the saddle valve for like $18-20. If you have access to the tap and to the intake pipe to that tap, which apparently Jasmine Irizarry, who likes to sit in the vacant, unrented bathroom behind this wall and does so for hours at a time, apparently she has access to the plumbing to this tap, if not to my bathroom. Then if you have access to somebody's pipe, you can just clamp the saddle valve around the pipe, attach a nozzle, because saddle valves have nozzle attachments, and then you can pump in whatever filth you want to somebody's tap water very easily. This is actually very basic technology that is used in third world countries to decontaminate water from streams and rivers. But here in this building, the reverse is being conducted, and the water to my tap is being deliberately contaminated. The Greenville Group's paid, sponsored, homicidal psychopath, HIV-contaminated sex offender, and obsessive stalker named Jasmine Irizarry has taken responsibility for the contamination that comes out of this tap. She seems to be kind of dumb, even though she seems technologically savvy, and claims that she's getting paid a lot of money to do everything that I keep noting, observing, and experiencing that she is doing. And Irizarry made some very accurate comments about the types of contaminants and the smells that come out of the water to this tap as well as to my shower, which seems to be the same intake pipe that runs along the back of this tap and into my bathroom. Ms. Irizarry claims that she's not using a saddle valve, but that she is putting mucus and other fluids in the water to my shower, and I should enjoy the boogers in my hair, as she put it. I'm assuming that if Irizarry is not using a saddle valve, then she's using some sort of backflow technology. Just as easy to do if you can remove the backflow safeguards. You just backflow contaminants into somebody's tap, right? Backflow is something that happens all the time unless you have something to block it. So again, right now it's 12:45 a.m. I am unable to use the water to this tap to rinse out my items. I have to use hydrogen peroxide. I have like dozens of bottles of hydrogen peroxide to decontaminate the water to this tap when I try to use it for washing personal items. And it's not the personal items that smell bad, it is the water to the tap. Because as soon as you shut the tap off, the foul stench goes away. The water that's inside this basin smells perfectly clean because it is clean. I've just dumped half a bottle of hydrogen peroxide into it, and I'm also using soap that smells nice. So again, the stench that is continually coming out of the water to this tap whenever I happen to try to use the water to this tap for ingestion For hand washing small, delicate items that I don't want it to smell bad, that's why I'm washing it, then the water starts to smell. It's also excessively hot in here, and even though it is 10 degrees outside right now, I think, or even less, maybe 6 degrees, I have to keep the air conditioner blasting. It is on maximum right now. F1, F2, F3. This is maximum. And even with that going and the window open, the temperature in this unit, it's hotter than 80. Yeah, 83.8. I mean, I knew it was hotter than 80 in here. It feels like it's 90. 82. 81. 80. 83. 79, 79, 80, 81, 79, 78, 79. Feels a lot hotter than 80 in here. Why does it always feel so much hotter than what the digital thermometer shows that it is? It's very strange. Oh. So it is over 80. I mean, 76. It is not 76. Come on. I'm just resetting this because it is way over 80 in here. I mean, I'm sweating, and I don't usually sweat until it's at least mid 80s. So it's got to be mid 80s once again in here with the window open. And again, it's 10 degrees outside right now. Today is very early on Sunday morning, February 8th, 2026. We just had a snowstorm last night that dropped maybe 5 or 6 inches of snow on Boston, and it should not be like over 80 degrees in this unit with the air conditioner cranking and the window open. Yeah, so that's more like it. 87, 81, what? 83, 79, 81. So we'll just chalk it up to being over 80 degrees in here with the window open, and it's 10 degrees outside right now. And just for comparison, it is 64 degrees just outside this door, and I'm not even standing in the hallway. I just have the door open. 64 degrees, like just inches outside my door. 63.9, 63.9, 63.7, 63.9, 63.7. That's weird. What is it doing? Is it ever going to change? What's going on? Is it stuck? Do I need to pull the battery out? No, 64.6. Huh. It's weird how that sensor light at the end of the hallway is always on. It only goes off if somebody's smacking the wall or walking under it. 64.9, 64.8. So anyway, it's 20 degrees cooler out here than it is in this unit. The other thing that needs to be noted is that items that I keep right by this door, just as a matter of necessity, my tote bag, my other tote bag, coats, scarves, and brand new, just purchased knit caps get contaminated, stolen, or otherwise vandalized by somebody who seems to have very detailed knowledge of the items that I keep over here by this door and where I keep them. This is a brand new, cute little knit cap that I purchased 4 days ago, barely. I have not worn it. I think I wore it for maybe like 10 minutes and then took it off and put it inside the sleeve to this coat right here. So this little knit cap, brand new, just purchased, still has the tags on it. I had hidden it inside the sleeve to this coat right here because Jasmine Irizarry, the Greenville Group's paid sponsored so-called, I guess she's a professional harasser, if that's what you want to call a career criminal who's a sex offender and a psychopath. She has been referred to by multiple staffers at the Greenville Group as their surveillance expert, and therefore she's obviously the one using and coordinating the surveillance devices in this unit that are being used for purposes of doxing, harassment, stalking, theft, vandalism, and all kinds of other exploitation, whatever they can do with the surveillance footage of what I have and happen to do in here and say and engaging in the privacy of this living space never remains private for very long. And my items that I keep by this door keep getting vandalized, contaminated, and or stolen. I mean, I can't leave anything by this door without it getting contaminated. This beautiful white coat, I can't wear it because it smells like somebody, like filthy feet. I mean, somebody smeared some kind of foul smelling stench all over it. I don't put my feet on my winter coats, and my feet never smell because I'm constantly spraying them down with rubbing alcohol, which is a very powerful disinfectant, even if you do have stinky feet, which I don't. So I can't wear this coat, and I just keep it here by the door. And I hid this little cap just in the sleeve. Okay. And now the cap doesn't smell like feet. It smells like a dead animal. It smells like somebody smeared some kind of a ritualistic rotting meat kind of stench. This is a stench that I have smelled on my clean sheets, brand new clothing items, towels, etc. for years. Somebody supposedly is using some type of a rotting meat liquid. And this cap, which smelled perfectly fine when I purchased it, I made sure I don't want to buy dirty caps, smelled fresh and clean. Now it smells like a dead, rotting animal. The interesting thing is that the smell on this coat is not a dead, rotting animal. It smells like somebody's feet. And again, I don't put my feet or socks anywhere near this coat, but the coat is right next to the open door. And Ms. Irizarry, who has been contaminating my personal items, my cosmetics, my clothing, etc., with foul-smelling body fluids for years, and also does that to the tap water, and brags that she's doing that to the tap water, likes to use a certain set of liquids to contaminate my stuff. And this sounds weird, but it seems to be ritualistic. I was looking this up. When somebody smears rotting animal meat smell all over your stuff, it's actually a practice that's used in witchcraft or Santeria to cast like negative energies on whoever's clothing you are smearing the dead meat smell on. Okay. I couldn't understand why all of my brand new clothing items, even when they have the tags on, suddenly smell like a dead animal, like rotting meat. Well, that's because that is a common practice in Santeria and witchcraft. Santeria is witchcraft. Jasmine Irizarry is Mexican. So is her friend and sponsor, Felicita Rodriguez, one of the property managers of this building. I really don't know if they practice Santeria, but it is a practice that is common in Mexico. And the use of dead, rotting meat juice to smear other people's stuff with and to cast negative energies on them is pretty common. So I have to wash this cap now, even though I never actually wore it, because it smells, the whole cap, the whole thing just smells like rotting meat. So all you need to do if you want to contaminate somebody's stuff with rotting meat, like juice from rotting meat, I mean, I'm not saying she rubbed rotting meat on this, but it smells like rotting meat, is to just get a spray bottle filled with juice from rotting meat. It smells like rotting meat. And the other stuff, the fish smell, I have figured out could be cat urine. I mean, that's what Santeria also does, is smearing cat urine on other people's clothing or in their shampoo bottles or on their cosmetics is also another form of Santeria. And it casts like a different type of negative energy on somebody. So these are smells that I keep smelling, not just like on my bags, on my coats, but in my cosmetics and my personal care items like face creams and shampoos. Like I keep saying, it smells like fish. Well, the fish smell could actually be cat urine. I can't really tell the difference. Could also just be fish. So I have to wash this cap now because it stinks like a dead animal, like it's roadkill. So that just happened within the last few days. And as I keep reporting, it's always stuff that's right here by the door, because sometimes I go down the hall to the common bathroom to rinse off the contaminated tap water from my tap in the water to the common bathrooms that is clean and fresh. And I don't lock my door. I just go down there for a couple of minutes. And Irizarry, being the Greenville Group's paid sponsored surveillance expert, as multiple staffers at the Greenville Group have referred to her, obviously has knowledge of the fact that I am down the hall for a few minutes. She knows exactly where I keep all my things, even when I hide them inside other items that she should have no knowledge of. Somebody, in order to contaminate this cap, had to know exactly where I was hiding it. And then even though I tape this chain shut when I'm inside my unit, That's why there's tape on the doors, folks. It's not some type of insanity. It's actually very logical because people can actually pick the lock to your door and then unhook the chain by taking duct tape, wrapping their hand around the open door, and then sliding the chain. So I tape the chain shut because I have chained this door shut multiple times and woken up to find it open. So whoever just contaminated this cap is using surveillance devices in this unit because the cap was hidden inside this coat and nobody should have had any knowledge of it. Not only did they have knowledge of where I hid that cap, but they knew enough to contaminate it with something that smells like a dead animal, presumably rotting meat. Okay, same thing.